Thank you very much. Vice President Pence, Prime Minister Netanyahu, Secretary Pompeo, dear ministers, ambassadors, and all esteemed guests. I'm very pleased and privileged to have you here in Warsaw today. The weather may be not the nicest Poland can offer, but on the other hand, snow is one of our specialties too, and you'll not have it at home probably. Not too much snow around us, but I think still some of it, so I hope you don't mind seeing it around you. But most of all, I hope that you have enjoyed this conference. I'm sure that thanks to your efforts, it will be remembered as a huge step in promoting future of peace and security in the Middle East. I was humbled by my visit to the Middle East last year. This experience, especially my encounter with refugees from Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and other places, gave me lots of food for thought. Helping these people in situ is one of our biggest obligations as an international community, and we must help them in a way that is most effective, that will have sustainable and long-term results. When we discuss humanitarian and refugee challenges, we usually focus on the outcome. It is very often the simplest solution to provide shelter, food, medicine for refugees, displaced people, all those who are affected by war or persecution. And these types of response is obviously needed. My government is involved in humanitarian actions on a very wide scale. We are doing it in cooperation with your governments, with many European countries, and with the US government as well to help all those in need, to help them survive. When inevitably these people are forced to flee, their humanitarian needs must be met. We need to support the frontline states such as Turkey or Lebanon. It is our duty to help these countries in the overall goal of humanitarian assistance. That goal being increasing the self-reliance of refugees by providing safe shelter, access to medical assistance, access to education, access to labor market. In providing urgent care in neighboring countries, let us not deflect our attention from the country of origin where the long-term solution lies. We must seek to ensure that people are not forced to flee their homes in the first place. Because the response must not be focused on providing food and shelter only, in the words of Peter Maurer, president of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent movement, all humanitarian work has a final goal, and that goal is peace, as it was emphasized by Vice President Pence just a couple of minutes ago. I have spoken to President Maurer, and I told him what I want to tell you today as well. Poland is committed to play its role in addressing refugee challenges, humanitarian challenges, but most of all, peace challenges in the Middle East. To avoid conflicts that result in refugee and humanitarian crisis, we must ensure stability and sustainability in the region. And we must employ politics when we talk about this, because peace is, in the end, a political goal. That is why we must make sure that the means we use to address these challenges should always be part of a wider strategy. Because we should not just deal with the current situation and react to it, but rather prevent its repetition in the future. So that the next generations can be free from fear, they can survive without external aid, and they can create a safe and sustainable environment for their families and children. Poland has always underscored the importance of development aid as a basis of a long-term solution, both for Middle East and other regions such as Northern Africa. We are involved in many programs to establish foundations for prosperous future, such as European Resilience Initiative by the European Investment Bank, where we have contributed 50 million euro, biggest share for any EU member state. This money will help creating jobs and businesses for people in the Middle East and North Africa, promote peace, provide for cleaner water, improve public transport and education facilities. They will help in creating a basis for prosperous future in the region. This is the way that is necessary to adopt if we have a long-term solution in mind. Not just humanitarian aid, not just providing basic supplies for refugees. This is also hugely important, but this is not enough. I hope that this ministerial conference will have two main results. First, that it will bring together our governments even if we do not agree on all things. And it will be a place of open debate and exchange of arguments for peace in the region. But most of all, I hope that it will be just the beginning, that it will result in developing something more than just a nice memory from snowy Warsaw. I hope that the working groups established as a result of this conference that will be addressing all issues mentioned here today will also have the approach, that approach in mind. The main goal of this conference is spelled in its title. It is the future of peace and security in the Middle East. And if we really are committed to the process of stabilization in the Middle East, this approach is essential. And I hope that despite all our differences, it is the one that we all share. Thank you very much for being here with us in Warsaw, and thank you for your attention.